Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco, powered by the Difference Media LLC, and hosted by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management, and also sponsored by Jax Crider with PBJ Mortgage, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, Debbie Watson with Abracadabra, Bethany Rowin with the B. Rowin Realty Group, Liliana Aranda with Window Hero, Eric Buchanan with Goosehead Insurance, Meena Singh, college counselor and prep coach. The Community Difference Frisco was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because a Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Well, good afternoon, Frisco, and welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. We're a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I'm your host, Brian Poduska. I am the owner of Real Property Management Focus, where we focus on your real estate investments right here in Frisco and all over the DFW area. My office is right here in Frisco. I live in Frisco, have been a Frisco resident for the last 13 years. You are watching episode number 66 of the Community Difference Frisco. If you haven't seen us before, we're a community-based podcast that puts the spotlight on one of 5 different types of local leaders. That would be a business owner, entrepreneur, a community leader, such as a politician or a board member, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and sports leadership. We are Sports City USA, after all, here in Frisco. We also have a rotating business topic of the month, which we talk about. The topic of April is how to turn customers and partners into raving fans. I look forward to diving into that with our guest today and our co-host. And we are also a live show. So if you haven't seen us before, you may be in for a treat. You never know what you're going to get. So what you see is what you're going to get. And sometimes we do have technical difficulties. Hopefully we don't have many of those today. But in case we do, just roll with us. It's all part of the authenticity of the show. One other thing, we have rotating co-hosts every week. And this week, I want to bring in our only co-host of the week on for the entire show. And that will be Miss Jax Crider. She's the owner of PBJ Mortgage. If you've ever traveled in a onesie or packed fine china like a pro, you might just be Jax Crider, mortgage expert, master packer, and unapologetic life liver. With a suitcase full of personality and a philosophy built on authenticity, Jax knows that turning customers into raving fans starts by showing up real. Get ready for a conversation that's anything but cookie cutter, just like Jax herself. Where are you at, Jax?
Hey, Brian.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing really good. And, I know that packing extravaganza was a fun one.
It sounds like it. And anytime, you got a onesie and you're traveling, like, who doesn't love that?
All the Europeans thought we were crazy, but, you got to have fun with it. Why not?
You're a life liver. I love it. It's awesome. Well, awesome to see you. Welcome to week 2. Excited to dive into the business topic with you. I know you always bring some awesome insights, and you are a bit of an outside the box thinker, not afraid to share your thoughts. So I always enjoy the discussion with you.
Absolutely.
But let's say hello to your guest. The first guest of the week. He may have accidentally worn a face full of air conditioning oil, but Brogan White still keeps his cool, especially when it comes to building a brand people rave about. As the voice behind Boy in a Bag, and apparently a killer Barack Obama impression, we got to hear that. Brogan knows that hustle, heart, and a little humor are the real tools to lasting loyalty. He's here to show us how turning customers into fans starts with doing the work, face splatters and all. Let's bring him in. What's up, Brogan? Where you at,
Hey,
buddy?
how you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am 100% going to need that Barack Obama impression. So think of a few different lines that you may want to use it on, but we're not going to let you off the hook on this show without coming strong. I'm from Chicago, so I've seen a lot of Barack Obama in my time. So we'll leave it up to the audience to judge exactly how good it is, but I look forward to it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, let's bring in our final guest, last but not least. He once lost his car keys while they were still in his hand. So if anyone understands the importance of clarity, it's Jared Alad. As a Frisco City Council candidate and wealth strategist, he's learned that turning customers and constituents into raving fans starts with cutting through the noise and delivering real value. If wisdom, transparency, and a little humility are your thing, you'll want to hear what Jared has to say. Let's bring him on and say hello to Jared.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Jared. I can relate with the keys in hand and looking for them. It's kind of like when you're looking for your glasses and they're on your face.
I was going to say your sunglasses on your head.
looking for your phone and you're actually talking on it, that sort of thing.
I've never done that.
Poor Brogan wouldn't understand that, guys. He's not old enough.
The keys thing was really embarrassing. I almost didn't even put it down, but it was funny. I was running around going, where are those darn keys? And boom, there they were in my hand. I was like, oh my gosh.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you guys on the show. Brogan, I'm going to ask you a question. What are you looking to get out of the show today?
Really, I think what I'm really looking to get out of it is just kind of show people who the owner is, what we do, how we operate just as a company, and just what our morals are. So just kind of getting some awareness out there for, just kind of advocating for us as mechanics.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to you doing that. Jared, question for you. What's your favorite part about living in Frisco?
It's just an amazing city. When we moved here from San Diego, we were looking for our two girls, we were looking for a very strong school system, but we also wanted a friendly community, a very community-friendly city as well. And we moved here about 12 years ago, and it's been great. 3 years ago, my wife decided to run for a Frisco school board, and she won. And so she's on school board right now. So we really enjoy this city a lot. We're going to be here for many, many years to come. And we really like Texas even more.
Awesome. Well, we'll get into a little bit more Frisco here after the commercial break. Again, guys, thanks for being on. Jax pointed out the fact that I think for once, maybe once ever in the show, we're men, we being men, are dominating the women as far as numbers go.
Usually it's very heavy female-dominated show. So here's Brian getting excited about his male counterparts.
I'm lucky if it's 50-50, but we have you 75% right now. So if there's anybody who can handle that, it's you, Jax. So appreciate you rolling with us men today. And with that, guys, let's take a quick commercial break. Give our sponsors some love. We're going to talk about what's going on in Frisco.
The Community Difference Frisco was made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Bethany Ralwin with the Beer Ralwin Realty Group, Liliana Aranda with Window Hero, Jax Crider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Abracadoodle, Eric Buchanan with Goosehead Insurance, Meena Singh, College Counselor and Prep Coach, and by Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for What's Up Frisco?
That's right. What's up, Frisco? That is what we're going to talk about right now. What is going on in Frisco? And what I mean by that is any sort of events going on. Thanks, Patrick. Good to see you tuning in. Appreciate that comment. So we're talking about anything going on around Frisco, that being a networking event, that being a political campaign event, that being a fundraising event, that being a job opening, you name it, whatever's going on in Frisco may not hit all the headlines, but you're going to learn about it here. So with that, I know I switched this off when we were off air, but we do typically go ladies first. And since you are the only lady on the show today, Jax, I would be remiss if I didn't hand it over to you first. So please take it away. Tell us what's going on in Frisco.
Sure. I don't know what order Lyndon has got some of the splash screens for us, but let me see if he's ready to go. Okay, perfect. So Frisco Women, guys, they have an amazing event April 26th from 2 to 5 p.m. This is going to be the Shine Bright, and it's a networking event for women. You can get your tickets at friscowomen.com. They're an amazing partner here with The Difference, and there's so many cool things. There's like a raffle, which I think you can put up the next one, and that'll give a QR code, Lyndon, I believe, that'll do that raffle. So this is an amazing opportunity for any women who are looking to network. There's a vendor fair. I've gone to a ton of their events. Really, really cool opportunity for any ladies here in the area. It is at the Tori and Katrina Hunter Center. So that's going to be an amazing, amazing opportunity there. And then I have a few other events I would like to speak to as well. Oh yeah, there's another little QR code there. And Diamonds Direct is one of the raffles. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a great cause. So Carson's Crusaders, for those of you who don't know, just briefly, they help people who have children going through cancer. And so this is one of their fundraiser. It's going to be May 10th. It's at the Courts of McKinney, and it's pickleball, right? Ding for kids. So who doesn't love pickleball? Good opportunity. So either go and cheer on the sidelines or go play yourself some pickleball. There's a QR code. You can go on and do that. And I think next up we've got also, I believe, May 10th, it's going to be Embrace and Bloom. This is for those pregnant mamas, and it is going to be a postnatal retreat. So it's going to be at the Gaylord Texan. Again, you can scan that QR code. Lots of really cool prizes and things. So this was actually suggested by one of our Frisco residents. So wanted to highlight that. Then our own Miss Debbie Watson, she's one of the co-hosts on the Community Difference. She is doing a ribbon cutting here next week on Thursday, April 17th from 5 to 6. It's going to be right there in Little Elm, 104 Hardwick Lane. And so we'd love, love, love for people to come out and support Miss Debbie with her new venture with Abracadoodle.
Woo!
Next up, yeah, Debbie is such a great person. We love her. Next up is going to be, if you are an 80s babe, Frisco 80s babes are going to do this fun game show type experience, Girls Night Out. That is on April 26th. And you can actually go find them on Facebook and learn more information about that event. It's going to be a fun opportunity for those of us who might be a little older to those 80s babies to have a good time and kind of hang out. And then last but not least, on my actual birthday, that's April 27th from 4 to 9, there's going to be this really cool Indian Spring Festival. This is going to be at Grandscape. It's a free event. They're not doing colors at this event, but this is a really cool opportunity. We have a very large, Indian population here in the Frisco area, and this is a great opportunity to learn more about their culture, or if you're part of their culture, be able to do really cool stuff with them. And I think we got Eric on location, right, Brian? I think.
Yes, ma'am. On location, Eric
On location.
Buchanan, one of our co-hosts, is out there, and we'll see if we can get him. There he is. What's up, my friend? What's going on out there, man?
Hey, Brian. How are you? Thanks for that introduction. I was afraid you were going to call me wrong. Eric Buchanan out here at Neighbors, Nourishing Neighbors with my good friend Rob DeLeo, and I'm learning to do the camera and talk at the same time, so just bear with me. But Rob is the executive director of Neighbors Nourishing Neighbors. They're here in the south part of Prosper, but they serve a big chunk of the Frisco community.
Oh, absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Neighbors Nourishing Neighbors?
Sure.
And we got some great events coming up, but tell us about what you do here.
Yeah, so Neighbors Nourishing Neighbors is a food pantry in Collin County. We're based just north of Frisco, north of 380. But, Frisco, first of all, neighbors in Frisco, 12% of your neighbors are food insecure. You may not know that. 1 in 5 children don't have access to good, nutritious meals on a regular basis. And that's where Neighbors Nourishing Neighbors comes in. We're one of the largest food pantries up here in Collin County.
That's great. And so how many families, some raw numbers of how many people you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do about close to 300 families every week. Close to 3,000 individuals every month, over 33,000 individuals we serve, annually. each family can come once a week. So we give about 50 to 70 pounds of food, depending on the size of the family. Most of this food is really coming from donations. However, we do have to purchase a lot of food. And so you at home know the cost of eggs. Well, we purchase eggs. So,
Yeah. So talk about with just some different funding things. I think you were telling me about like USDA cuts, maybe, if I got that right.
If you all see the news with different federal cuts and funding and what have you. So USDA is cutting about $9.5 million of funding to the North Texas Food Bank, and we're an agency of the North Texas Food Bank. So if you look downstream, if you cut 9.5 million, how much of that is actually going to hit our area here in Collin County? It's going to be a significant hit. So what that means is that folks that are looking for nutritious meals that we provide on a weekly basis, maybe some of that we're not going to be able to contribute to supplement their food at home, and we're going to really depend on individual contributions. People that are just going to, even $5 a month. If we got 30,000 people to do $5 a month,
yes,
that's a huge contribution and really little bit of impact to the family. So 30,000 people in Collin County isn't a whole lot of people.
Yeah. And so you do a lot of events and fundraising, and you've got an event coming up this Saturday,
Yep.
Hot Dogs and Hot Rods, I believe.
It's our 12th annual Hot Dogs and Hot Rods. So you have classic cars, you customize cars, classic cars. I probably already said that, but we're expecting about 100 different cars this weekend on April 12th at Prosper Town Hall. And then the hot dog piece of it, we'll have hot dogs, we'll have chili dogs, we'll have bacon wrapped hot dogs, Italian sausage, and bratwurst. So there's going to just be a ton of food, and we'll have music going, and you can turn around and take a look at all those cars that are out there.
So great event. Be sure to get out there, Brian. I know you like a good hot dog. Jax, I think you do as well.
Heck yeah.
Last thing I just want to show, because I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
You guys had some adversity a short time back. And we're going to
Absolutely.
give people a quick tour before we hop off.
Right.
Talk about the fire that you guys suffered.
January 18th, we had a 2-alarm fire that hit our warehouse. Actually started in a suite next to us, but it got into our suite. Probably looking at about $250,000 worth of damage. We can take a look at behind me.
Yep.
And what have you. So this is, if you can see the damage to the suite next to us.
I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, sure can.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Yep. So we had 2 alarm fires. So the fire guys came in here, threw a ton of water into our particular warehouse. Now all that water hit us when it was freezing overnight. So this floor became an ice rink, something that the Dallas Stars would be proud to play on. But unfortunately, we had a brand new forklift that was ruined. A ton of food was spoiled. We had to get rid of all that lost food. We don't have service in our walk-in freezer refrigerator, and now we're working out of containers. So here's the cool thing is that as soon as we went down the very next week, with the help of local communities like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we were able to start serving food to our neighbors that very next weekend. But for now, we're in a mobile pantry with mobile containers. We'll be doing that until they rebuild this facility. And like the phoenix rising from the fire, we will rise too, this time bigger and better.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, hey, Rob.
That's absolutely
sir.
true.
Hey, one question, Eric, if you can, and Rob, if you can hear me, what is the one thing that the community can do for you to help you guys through your rough period of time, as well as going forward, especially with reduced funding?
The biggest thing you do right now, go to our website, n3foodpantry.org. And if you could pledge $5, $10, whatever you can pledge on a monthly basis, that is going to have the biggest impact of fighting food insecurity in Collin County.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you being on today. I love what you're doing for the community. Thank you so much. And Eric, appreciate you being on the spot, Johnny on the spot out there, roving reporter, Eric Buchanan. There he is, my friends.
You bet.
Absolutely. Our own Eric Buchanan.
Thank you. Bye.
See you guys. Awesome. There it is from the field, Mr. Buchanan. That was pretty cool. And love what Rob is doing for the community. Okay, who we got up next? Brogan, I think you were going to share something, right? What you got going on in Frisco?
Yes, sir. So at the Collin College Technical Campus this weekend, the 12th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're actually hosting an open house for our automotive and collision body shop. So people can come tour the entire shop. They can tour the whole body shop, the paint booths. I do believe we're going to have VR paint booth set up so that way people can test their painting skills. And, we can get to just show off all of our facilities. And we're also having a car show there. So we will be doing that from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on this Saturday, the 12th, at the Collin College Technical Campus.
That's awesome.
All right. So it sounds like we've got car shows all over the place.
I was going to say car-centric weekend, Brian, for those car folks. You'll love it.
Fantastic. Now, the question, do you have hot dogs and bratwurst? Because they had me at bratwurst.
I know. Unfortunately, our Cougar Cafe at the campus has first right of refusal. So I think they'll be the ones providing the food.
Oh, that works. Yeah. Well, so let me talk about Collin College. That facility, so that's the one right off of 121, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we had a tour there the morning of our Leadership Frisco Day that we spent in the Education Day, and we got a tour of that building. Bless you, Jax. Got a tour of that building, and we walked through the automotive center there. I was blown away by that facility. It's just, it's top-notch everything. I had no idea that existed before we did that with Leadership Frisco, and people need to know about that because it is phenomenal. So love to hear that you guys are doing an open house there.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Brogan. I'm going to shift it over to Jared. If there's anything that you want to talk about coming up in Frisco, fire away, my friend.
Yeah. So tonight there's going to be the Frisco Chamber of Commerce is doing a forum for the candidates running for Frisco ISD and also for Frisco City Council. It's going to be at the Grace Church in Frisco Square, 8440 Grace Street, Frisco, kind of downtown Frisco, but kind of behind where the municipal building is there. And it's going to start at 6 p.m. and it's going to go through 8:15. So if you are interested in learning about the candidates that are running this year, including myself and my wife, she's running for re-election. This will be a good opportunity to meet all the different candidates. There's 5 races this year in Frisco. There's 3 ISD races and 2 city council. And we're going to be talking, I'm sure, about a lot of important topics. There's going to be some ballot measures going to be on there as well that are really important to the city of Frisco. So it'll provide a good opportunity for people to come and learn and see what's kind of going on for the city.
Awesome. Yes, sir. So get out there. We've been publicizing that the last several weeks here on the show. So that is the Chamber of Commerce hosted event tonight at Grace Church. So get out there and check it out. Thank you for that, Jared. Lennon, go ahead and start throwing my screens up, and I'll talk through them as quickly as we can because I know we're a little tight on time. With that, so again, you rule followers, you are now legal to water. As of April 1st, you can water once a week until May 31st on your trash day. Summertime, you'll get 2 days a week, and then come fall at the end of October, you got to shut them off. So water away Frisco 1 day a week on your trash day. Next up. There it is, what Jared just talked about. So it's our candidate forum. You heard all about it. It's tonight, Grace Church. Get out there, 6 p.m. All right, we've got a taste of Augusta. So one of my favorite weekends of the year, the Masters is going on right now. Actually, I'm on screensaver on my TV in my office here, so I can't see who's leading, but that is something I will be following all weekend as they will be at the PGA of Frisco. So they've got this Taste of Augusta going on. Different Augusta-themed meals at the various different places to eat out there at PGA of America. So get out there. It's all weekend long until Sunday at 9, until the Masters is over.
Rose is leading, by the way.
Rose has jumped up there, huh? Okay. Scotty, I
Yes,
saw
he
was he was at like -3, I think last I checked.
He's -4 in third place. Scotty is.
Okay.
I was going to say, for those of y'all who don't know, Brian and Lyndon are like the golf fiends over here, okay?
We are self-proclaimed sports nerds, and golf certainly falls within that nerddom. And yeah, the Masters, as long as I finish ahead of Lyndon in the Masters pool, we'll be okay. But all right, so
that can't happen.
well, maybe we'll have a little side bet going. We'll talk about that off air. All right, next up, we got Coffee with the Mayor, as we do every Friday second week of every month. This one is obviously tomorrow. It's at the library, so get out there. If they're going to have the CFO of the city, Derek Cotton, who's going to give a budget overview. Very important topic given what we have on the ballot coming up on May 3rd, the Frisco Center for the Arts. See how that folds into the mix here, because that is a very hot topic that we've been talking about on the show, as well as earlier this week at a public hearing. So come on out and hear about the city finances with the city CFO, Derek Cotton. All right, then we've got the Texas Big Star half marathon and 5K. This is going to be at Collin College. It kicks off bright and early. There is still the opportunity, if you're a business and want to get a sponsorship level at any level, there is still room available. I believe you have to have that in by tonight. So if you want to get out there and sponsor this event, it is run by the Frisco Chamber of Commerce, and the Frisco Chamber of Commerce Foundation is one of the beneficiaries. So get out there, support your local business at the half marathon and 5K. And then next up, we've got the Saturday. This is kind of cool. It's at Kaleidoscope Park. It's going to happen every Saturday in the month of April. They've got all kinds of things going on. It's free. So if you got some kiddos, bring them out to Kaleidoscope Park. It's 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, it's every Saturday, and they've got different programming depending on what week it is. So if you haven't been to Kaleidoscope Park, now that the weather is warming up, is your time to get out there. It's a gorgeous, small little walkable park. And I don't mean small, but it's what I mean is walkable, and there's a lot to do. So get out there, check it out. All right, we talked about this. This is the Earth Day cleanup coming up April 26th. It's happening right at the Frisco Heritage Museum, near downtown, right in the middle of downtown Frisco. Get out there and help out the community and clean up. All right, next up,
Brian. What's that?
That's it? Yep. We're not talking about dodgeball?
Well, we do have that, but I've got that teed up for a
I was going to say, of course he has to talk about dodgeball.
I've got the video.
Okay, well, let's talk about the dodgeball event. So this is Leadership Frisco is putting on a fundraising event for the Frisco Education Foundation as the beneficiary. There it is, Friday, May 2nd. We are looking for teams. We are looking for sponsorships. We still have a few available. About 3/4 of them are gone, but we still are looking for a sponsor event. So if you want your name as the headliner of this event, please, please, please reach out to me or any of the people that are on Leadership Frisco. You can scan that QR code. All your sponsorship levels are available for purchase. Your teams are available for purchase. And we're also opened up individuals that want to compete, but maybe not have a team of 6 to 10 people. Come on out, sign up for that, and we'll put you with other like-minded folks who just want to get out there and compete. And maybe throw some dodgeballs at your local politicians. Because, Jared, I know you'll be out there rallying. It's the day before the election, which is May 3rd. This is Friday morning, May 2nd. So get out there, throw some dodgeballs at Jared, throw some dodgeballs at whichever politician you want. It's going to be a fun time.
They're trying real hard to convince me to go. I'll play ball.
I've invited Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller to come.
Well, they would be our guest referees, hopefully. We've also propositioned them. I think they've been pretty quiet on that front, but who knows? We'll see. Our budget doesn't really, it's going to have to be a donation in kind because our budget doesn't have them in it. But
surprising.
So, Lennon, if you've got that video queued up, go ahead and run it.
I got the video. We do need to make that mention of our one of the folks that won the endorsement at our last BDA event.
Yeah, so go ahead and run that video, and I'm going to get his mention queued up here.
Okay.
It's utterly menacing. I mean,
I was watching that video last week when I was watching the show live, and I literally laughed out loud. I was like, when you're kissing both of your arms, I was like, oh,
right.
God.
You know, you got welcome to the gun show right here. So watch out. This is Texas. Bring your guns, you know, right here. So yeah, get out there May 2nd. It's gonna be fun. We're like, I'm glad you were laughing, Jax, because that was the goal. We're just trying to have a little bit of fun and raise some money for Frisco Education Foundation. At the end of the day, that's what all this is going towards. So come on out and have fun. And Jared, get ready to dodge some dodgeballs. All right, with that, guys, we my final thing that I'll do here on the What's Up Frisco segment. We had a BDA last month in Plano. Right, and one of the giveaways, or one of the winners, I guess you could say, was our attendee Kevin Bailey. He is the owner of Texas Cybersecurity. At Texas Cybersecurity, we turn chaos into productivity is Kevin's tagline at Texas Cybersecurity. Quick, short bio: TDAV is an IT partner, not just a provider. We understand why your critical business services are so important to your daily operations. This is why we spend so much time aligning our technology support with just such business services. Building a program that relies on 24/7, 365 network monitoring, coupled with an aggressive preventative maintenance component to ensure optimum uptime for your business. So if you're looking for IT help, especially IT security in today's world, look up Kevin Bailey, Texas Cybersecurity. And Kevin, thank you for coming out to the BDA in Plano. We also had a BDA Business Development Alliance for those who haven't heard of our BDAs. We had one in Tarrant County, London. It sounded like it went fantastic. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I look forward to the next one in Tarrant County. We're going to have another one in Collin County. We're going to have one in Denton County. We're going to have one in Rockwall County. Lennon, what is the BDA in 10 seconds?
Business Development Alliance. It's all the things that you didn't know you needed to know when you decided to be a business owner.
That's good. I like that.
It is awesome. And I went to yesterday's. It was so great. So I highly recommend whatever community you're a part of that you get plugged into your local BDA.
And even if you're not, in addition to local, go to the other ones too, because it's a great opportunity. Again, like-minded business folks. It has all the components of networking, in-person networking. You're going to learn a little bit of something. Panel discussion at the end. They're great. So come on out to the next one, and we will socialize that information as we go. All right. We are way past time. I know we had a lot going on this week, so we're going to take a breather. We're going to take a quick commercial break. On the backside of that, we're going to dive into the business topic of April, which, again, how to turn customers and partners into raving fans. Stick around. That's what we're going to talk about. See you soon.
Attention DFW professionals. Something big is happening in Tarrant County, and it's not another networking event. This is the launch of the Business Development Alliance, a business development movement where professionals don't just connect. They grow, they lead, they build together. At BDA, we do it differently. We don't chase referrals. We build collaboration. We don't hope for follow-up. We're structured for follow-through. And we don't wait on growth. We develop it through coaching, clarity, and community. We bring in elected officials, school leaders, and regional influencers to share insights that help you understand and impact the decisions shaping your business. This isn't surface-level networking. It's a platform for growth, influence, and opportunity. If you're tired of being referral dependent, if you're looking for a room full of professionals who are as eager as you to build an ecosystem of growth, development, and productivity, come see what has already set Collin and Rockwall County professionals on fire. Now it's Tarrant County's turn. This isn't just business. This is serious business. The Business Development Alliance, Tarrant County, launches April 9th. So come on out and build with us every second Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, 6800 North Freeway, Fort Worth, Texas, 76131. And now back to the show.
Funny, I didn't realize we had the BDA commercial queued up, so I wouldn't have talked so much about BDA because they did a much better job than I did talking about it. Love that commercial. That's awesome. I recognize a few people in there. I don't know. All right, with that, Jax, are you commenting? Look at that. Very
Heck
cool.
yeah, you know.
Shouting out our other one of our other co-hosts, Lauren Gill, who is in Italy right now, and she's watching because I saw her comment earlier. So thank you for your dedication, Lauren.
I heard she was starting a BDA over there, so I'm waiting to see.
I was going to say, she's had to start a lot of them then, Lyndon, because she travels all over the place.
I know, right?
Well, that would be another good business write-off for her. So, and I look forward to going on the road to help out with those BDAs for sure.
I think we can sacrifice, right, Brian?
That's right. You got to do what you got to do. Well, hey guys, we on the show, I mentioned up front, we have a rotating business topic every month. Again, our target audience is business owners, entrepreneurs, small business owners, medium-sized business owners, heck, even large-sized business owners, and the community. And what I love about this, every month we have a different topic that we talk about. We talked about in March how to have the CEO mindset, even if you're a team of one or a team of few. This month we're talking about how to turn customers and partners into raving fans. So I love the mix of folks that we have on the show today. Brogan, like I said, you're a young, hungry business owner, have a very unique business model. I got to meet you briefly at the Plano BDA, and I was really impressed with some of the questions that you provided feedback on when we did the panel discussion. So curious to hear what you have to say about this topic. And Jared, I want to hear from your perspective from two different ways, right? Raving fans from a financial advisor standpoint, as well as from a public servant standpoint. So with that, let's define the difference between a satisfied customer and a raving fan. Okay, Brogan, tell me the difference between that. And I guess I'm preempting or what's the difference, but I think that's a good way to launch off this discussion, because there is a very distinct difference between somebody who's just satisfied, and they could be above average satisfied, but what brings them from being a satisfied customer to a raving fan? Brogan, let me hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I would say the biggest difference is with, raving fans, they're more loyal to you and your brand. They send out better referrals, and, they just connect with you more personally, while a satisfied customer, while they may be happy at the end of the job, they may, next time something comes around, they may keep looking around instead of immediately coming back to you and your brand because of the service you provided. So, they may just want to, look around and shop around for different options.
Well, let me dive into that answer. Number one, I think you're absolutely right. But what about the fact that if they were so satisfied and they are a raving fan of yours, what are they going to do other than come back to your business? What are they going to do to other folks who may be looking for your services?
Well, I mean, they can always, push people in your direction, especially, if you provide a more like family oriented, service, like where you treat your customers like friends and family. It's just like, telling your cousin about your other cousin who's doing this, that, and the other. It's keeping business in the family. And so if you can kind of keep your customers close, your customers usually keep their friends close as well.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I don't even think the raving fans had to have been customers. In my personal opinion, I mean, they're just people who are so sold out on you and your business, the way you run your business, who you are, or whatever. I have several people that they've never actually done a loan with myself, I'm in my business, but they're raving fans because of how our interactions have been, how we treat them. You know what I mean? All of those aspects.
Well, absolutely, Jackson. I like that. And I'm going to shift it over to Jared on that comment, because as somebody who's running for city council and a public election, public servant, right? You don't have a client per se in a business transaction, but you have the stewardship of the city's interests and your citizens' interests first and foremost. So, to that point, you need constituents on your side. So how do you go about building your constituency, and how do you go about, getting raving fans and advocates for yourself? Because you can't do it all yourself. You can put as many yard signs out as you want. You can go to as many events as you want and talk to many people are in front of you at that audience. But what are you doing to create that support system that's going out and shouting Jared for city council?
I think probably one of the most important things is having good listening skills. It's important to communicate your message, but it's just more important to listen to what your people are saying to you. So even though I will talk about what my priorities are, I will always follow up with, I know this is important, what I think is important, but what do you think is important? And I've gotten some really good feedback as far as, things that I've never thought of. So I'll give you an example. A constituent said, I liked everything you had to say, but one of my concerns is water. And I said, water, what do you mean? And he said, well, we got 237,000 people. We're going to about 350,000 in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm concerned we're not going to have enough water. And that stumped me. I had no clue about that myself. So I contacted somebody from the North Texas Water District, and there's 13 cities that are involved with that. And that's how we get our water. And it's a separate entity, and they create the infrastructure. And I did a 25-minute interview with a member of the North Texas Water District, and it wasn't fascinating, right, for most folks, but I thought it was kind of fascinating, all the different ins and outs of that and how they're staying ahead of the curve when it comes to water needs. And it was pointed out to me that Frisco was leading out of the 13 cities. We were the best at conserving water. And the things you had mentioned earlier, did a little post there about conserving water. We're actually the best out of those 13 cities. And one of the things I want to do is, if I'm elected, is I want to go to those other 12 cities and show them what we're doing, because if everybody can lower their costs, that's passed on to the consumer, the residents, and that can make a big impact when it comes to our bills. And so, and it's amazing how much water we do use. And I found out later there's some cities in Texas where when you buy a house, they'll have a notice saying that there's no water rights, and you're taking a risk that there may not be sufficient water, which I kind of found fascinating. So anyway, listening, I think, is the most important thing, and finding out what's important, and then applying what you know to hopefully alleviate their fears. And, just developing a rapport with people is very, very important with folks. And even though you have a short amount of time, you can develop rapport very quickly. And then that's how you build the loyalty, not just for the election, but in business as well. Building rapport is just so important, and people can sense if you are genuine or not when it comes to that. So.
What I think what you're sort of touching on is that emotional component, which is like a key component in creating a raving fan, whether it be a constituent or a customer or somebody who has never done business, but they're very tied to your brand, right? Because I mean, again, as I think I discussed when I was talking on the Plano show, we talked about Nike, right? Like they do a shoe. Well, you can go buy a pair of shoes pretty much anywhere. Walmart, Target, like what about Nike is so, has more raving fans and whatever. Is that emotional connection to that brand, right? The way that they create that and they deepen that. And so I think what you're playing on right there, right? That why, getting to their and listening to them deeply is really pulling out that emotional component within them, which is definitely going to create not only brand loyalty, but that raving fan kind of mentality and creating that.
Agreed. I did that initially with, if you've seen anybody driving around Frisco, I did a completely different version for a street sign. The typical street sign says such and such, running for office, and they're all basically, they look the same, but mine is very different to elicit that response. It completely stands out. It's got a picture of my beard, and I've got a very unique color scheme. And that was all to generate a connection that was very different than everybody else's. And it's actually worked. I've had many a folk tell me, residents tell me, oh, so you're the guy with the beard. And so, the marketing person that helped me devise that, I was like very skeptical. And until he put up on the screen my sign in a sea of the irregular signs, and it just stood out like a neon sign. And so I took a chance, and that's where the rapport, like you said, the emotional response with folks, that's what you have to capitalize on, and to build that very quickly, and to develop loyal customers.
100%. And when it comes to branding, right? I love the topic of branding. We've talked about it before. Jax, you mentioned Nike. Love that. Apple's another one that people rave about, right? And it's the halo effect of, if you have an effective product and you have an effective brand, and an effective strategy, then all of that it's a halo effect, right? So, Brogan, question for you when it comes to branding, right? So, Boy in a Bag, your business is a mobile mechanic, right? Tell us about the branding of your company, because I'm curious about that myself.
Yeah, so I actually get this question a lot. And so Boy in a Bag originated from when I first started becoming a mobile mechanic. I was working with another gentleman, and I'm very picky with my tools. So I would always bring my own tools, and I had backpacks. And so when I split off and created my own business, I still have my backpacks with all my tools, and it became, the bag. And so that's where Boy in a Bag came to be. And now I actually have a branded tool bag that's branded the bag. So when people ask, I can just show it to them.
Love it. Well, as you get older, that boy is not going to, the term boy is not going to fit at some point. So you're going to have to come up with another fun alliteration.
I was going to say, he'll either have to rebrand, or maybe he's always going to be a boy at heart. So, you never know.
Yeah. And a mechanic, I don't know. I have to come up with some. We'll help you on the branding there. But the idea there, though, again, it's a catchy name. And when it comes to service and creating that raving fan, just like Jared said with his bearded yard signs, right? Fear the beard, Boy in a Bag. It's a catchy, top of mind thing, but it doesn't do much for you if you're not providing that raving fan service level, and then follow up, and then experience, right? It comes down to the experience, whether it be a political event or the experience they have. The fact that you're a mobile mechanic, you can help somebody out who's stranded, right? Like that. I have to imagine that's one of your biggest competitive advantages, is that you're going to them. So I love that, and I love the branding aspect of it, and to the extent that you can build on that and create the raving fans, I think is fantastic.
Hey, Brian, I got a question I want to ask.
Fire away.
Do you have to be a current or past customer to be a raving fan?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I already said that. I said no. I think some of the best are people who've never done business with you. I know of several of those that literally every time on Facebook, anybody says anything about mortgage, they're tagging me. They never did a loan with me, but they know my quality of work, and who I am as a person, and who my team is as people, right?
So let me go a little deeper. I know that'll make you smile, Jax. Let me go a little deeper. So they know your quality of work. But what about the quality of person you are? Because I'm going to tell y'all, I've said this before. I am a raving fan of Chick-fil-A, and it's not my favorite chicken sandwich. I love the way they do business. I love the way they treat people. I love what their core values are. I love what they stand for. I think they are incredible, and I will always sing their praises. But there's about 3 places I would rather go, me personally, to get a chicken sandwich than Chick-fil-A. So I think that when you look around our community and you see people that are doing that, I'll give you this an example. Okay? I watched Eric Buchanan today go out and interview someone and take his time and his place and his opportunity to lift someone else up. In my mind, that builds a raving fan. You may not know Eric Buchanan, and even that he sells insurance, but you just got to know him as someone that's doing something incredible and trying to help someone in the community. And I think businesses miss that opportunity so much.
Right.
And how not just giving back to the community, but getting involved in the community.
For sure.
Yeah, love that. That's an absolutely solid point. And a lot of what we try to do on this show is exactly that, right? We're putting the spotlight on community leaders for that exact reason, is to get their names out for and help build that rapport with people who may not have met you or seen you, but they come across this podcast and get to know something about you, and that's the whole goal, right? Love it. Well, Lennon, with that, let's hit the what's the difference sounder, and I'm going to ask a few what's the difference questions to our guests here. So hit it.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
So I love this because it kind of puts a bow on our business topic, and I love getting the input from our guests and you as well, Jax, because you're going to be put on the hot spot here too. But you guys have already answered one question I was going to ask, and that's what's the difference between a customer and a raving fan. So I'm going to ask a different one. What's the difference between customer service and customer experience? And Brogan, I'm going to direct that one to you, given it's your wheelhouse. What you got?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest difference between service and experience is service is just what they call me out to do. That's what every mechanic does. They take it to a shop, the car gets fixed. That's the service. Anybody, and I say this all the time, anybody can work on a car, but not many people can provide a convenience and an honest and transparent service where the customer feels like they've actually gained an actual beneficial thing to their life. It's not just the car's getting fixed. It's I now have someone that I can call for whatever I need. And it's, it just builds that trust with the client.
Yeah, love it. It's a great answer. All right, Jared, question for you. What's the difference between a referral partner and a brand ambassador?
Well, that's a good one.
We do. Good questions.
Yeah, that was a good one. So a referral partner is someone that, that you kind of count on to, pass the word out if they happen to come across a particular client. So let's say Jax is at a cocktail party and someone mentions that they, are having some financial difficulties or, with their portfolio or whatever. And she says, you know what, I have someone for you that, you might want to talk to. A brand ambassador is someone that says, you know what, I work with this person. I think they're amazing. And they take it to that next level. They don't just, hand off that person to the other person. They're actually going to be involved as well. They want to maybe come to the meetings or stay involved down the road. They want follow-ups to see how things are progressing. And so, they become much more engaged with the client itself, the new client or the referral. It's not just a handoff. They're going to be throughout the process and hopefully, for years to come as well. And so they become much more intricate piece of the business as well. So that's what I think a brand ambassador is versus just a referral person.
Okay, good. I like that perspective. Jax, I'm going to direct that same question to you. Okay, so what's the difference between a referral partner and a brand ambassador?
So that's a good question. Referral partner, I think a lot of times it is prompted when somebody asks or they out of a need, right? A brand ambassador is somebody who's actively trying to solicit, basically. They're like the mouthpiece, if you will. So it's not like you're having to raise your hand all the time, me, right? They're saying, hey, man, look at Jared. He's an amazing financial planner. Look at Brogan. He's an amazing mechanic. There's nobody like him. You have to utilize him, right? Without necessarily being prompted or forced or anything like that, right? Or by anybody saying, well, I need a mechanic. Well, it's really easy for me to be like, oh, okay, well, you need a mechanic than Brogan. But what about when somebody doesn't need a mechanic? And I just want to spread that word because I think I'm a Raving fan and I think he just does an amazing job with the services he provide. Right. And so I think that would be the key difference in my opinion.
Well, and the age-old law of supply and demand too, right? Like consistency and referrals. Okay, you have a need, you need a mortgage. Okay, Jax is your gal. What about if you have a raving brand ambassador and they're supporting you outside of that need? So the supply and demand, you're creating demand if you have raving fans, right? I go back to that. I'm a stupid finance and economics guy, but if you can create demand, what does that do for your referrals?
For sure.
You don't have to work for them nearly as hard, right? Because they're coming to you.
Absolutely.
I also have something to add.
Yeah, go for it.
For that, I would say with referrals, it's reactive, and with the brand ambassador, it's active. So brand ambassadors are getting ahead of the curve. They're putting in people's minds of, hey, when you do have an issue or you do need something, contact this person. The referral partners are, reacting to someone needing something and then moving, soliciting the service there.
Can I ask a question on that? Because that is a brilliant response, and I want to go deeper on that if I can. So Brogan, man, that's one of the best ways I've heard it explained in the shows that we've been doing here. But when you talk about it being reactive versus proactive, and I put in the chat, a more casual relationship than an ambassador is a more of a formal relationship. But when you're studying and measuring metrics, right? So there's never been a referral relationship in the world that was 100% reciprocal. It does not exist. You do not give and get one for one. So when you are more of a brand ambassador versus a referral partner, don't you think the metrics, the tracking, the actual data is going to show a more productive relationship through a more consistently productive relationship through a brand ambassador than through a referral partner?
I 100% agree. Because especially like if you look at social media, getting ahead of the curve, trying to, put yourself out there and, bring awareness to your brand is, it is so much, especially with social media, it's so much easier to, reach a wider audience of people and get the people who need, because you don't always know what people need. And, sometimes they don't want to ask. A lot of people don't like asking. They just want to figure it out on their own. And if you can put something in front of their face where they're like, oh, I do need that, but I didn't have to talk to anybody about it. I feel like that is like some of the best ways to start moving clientele around is because, just it makes things easier for people and it brings convenience to the table.
So how much of a brand ambassador do you have to be in order to surround yourself with other brand ambassadors?
That is actually a really great question. So I'm pretty new to the social media and on all the, BDAs and business meetings, but I would say really it's just as long as you're, just being a genuine person and, trying to help people as much as you can and, advocate for their business and advocate for them as a human being and, the personality. I think as long as you really, it's who you surround yourself with. So if you just get in there and get it done, then, it's really all.
I got one last question, and I'm not trying to hijack the show, but I'm loving the conversation. Do you put yourself in
the mute button?
A different, I do have one of those.
We can give him the buzzer, Brian.
Do you put yourself at a better advantage if you have a strategy for being a brand ambassador, or if you're casually just trying to suggest people and promote people when you have nothing else to do?
Yeah, strategy and having a support system like internally with your business and your advertising is 100% needed. Because I know whenever I first started and I was just going by the seam of my coattail and all that stuff, and I was just doing whatever worked, it was chaotic and it wasn't streamlined and it didn't work. And so once we started getting upload schedules and keeping everything on calendars and making sure everything is by the book, then that's when the business really started growing.
Well, you can't do scalable, repeatable practices. I mean, you use the example, Lyndon, of Chick-fil-A or whatever, right? I mean, why do they have raving fans beyond the fact that they have an excellent customer service? They have scalable, repeatable practices, right? Every single Chick-fil-A, like, exactly what you're getting, that they're going to be very complimentary, my pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, all those things are existing. And if you don't have those procedures in place, how the heck can you execute that? It's like, well, Brogan's going to possibly execute it this way because he's that way, and Jack's going to execute it this way. Jared might execute it some other way. Like you have to have that to be able to do it effectively.
Agreed.
Yeah, love that. And guess what, Lennon? We are out of time on the business topic. Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut you off.
That's the first time that's ever happened. It's usually the other way.
That's right. Usually it's absolutely a one-sided street, but this time I get to do it. Love the insight though, guys, and love the fact that we've gone deeper. Brogan, that for somebody as young as you are, those are some great insights. So kudos to you, and I look forward to being a partner of yours and supporting your business, because that's great stuff. All right, with that, guys, we are at the end of the business topics segment. Great insight. Thank you from all the perspectives, right? Jared, appreciate the political perspective as well. We're going to take our final commercial break. We're going to come back and dive into Brogan and dive into Jared a little bit, get to know them a little bit more. So stick around. We will be right back.
The Community Difference would like to thank each of the following partners for their continued support. At Fireboss Realty, we believe life is about relationships, and everything else is just details. Whether you're buying or selling, Scott and Amy Johnson are here to understand your family's unique needs and deliver expert guidance on the North Texas real estate market. With a reputation for integrity and personalized service, Fireboss Realty makes your home journey stress-free and successful. Ready to make your move? Visit firebossrealty.com and let's ignite your real estate dreams.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
Now back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. This is our spotlight segment. So we're going to dive into Jared and Brogan a little bit here and let them share with the audience who they are and, kind of what spins their wheels a little bit here. So with that, I like to kick it off with, usually it's a softball question, like, is your bed made, or what did you have for dinner last night?
Lauren hates this question because her answer is always the same. How does she end her day with a glass of wine and a bath or whatever?
Yeah. So we're gonna kick it up a notch here, because what you mentioned earlier, Jared, about the water situation in North Texas, and you're right, the North Texas water situation is, somewhat harrowing, I guess you can say. And Frisco has done a lot of great things about, a lot of programs out there to conserve water. So,
can I just say, does it burn anyone else's buns that Lake Louisville is all for Dallas? That's why you can watch them in like Highland Park and University Park be watering their lawn like in the heat of the summer 8 million times a day. Just saying.
Well, this is true. So one of the things Jared mentioned is, there's a water contingency plan out there and there's a proactive plan out there.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is they just created a new lake to help the water supply in North Texas. It's Poduska Lake is what it's called.
Yes.
So question for you guys, does anybody know how to build a lake? Because, well, number one, fun fact, there are no lakes in the DFW area that aren't man-made. There's no natural lakes.
There's only one in all of Texas.
I did learn that.
There's only one lake in all of Texas that is natural, only one. And I think it's in like Central, but don't quote me.
It's Lake Caddo. That's correct. That's the only natural lake in the state of Texas. So follow-up question to that is, does anybody know how a lake is built?
No, but I can go ask the guy at the North Texas Water District. He'll tell you. He's full of fun facts. He can tell you how it's all done too.
I know that they use they get a Corps of Engineers to figure out some of the different aspects, and typically they try to run them based off like some stream or river or something that will actually help feed the water source so that it's not just rain, because let's be real, we don't get enough like sometimes, right? Like when you go through periods of drought. But I know that the reason that most lakes have Corps of Engineer land around them has to do with the fact that they have to figure out like when they sort of flood that area and make the lake to figure out, right? Like what's the patterns going to look like? Because now you have new floodplains you're creating and things like that by digging out some of the land. Sorry, guys. I nerd out on lots of weird stuff. My bad.
Well, wow. You are so Lennon.
Maybe you should work for the North Texas Water District.
I don't, but I like plants and I'm just, like I said, I'm just a nerd, y'all. I'm just a nerd in all things.
Lennon, hit the cheer button for Jax, because she is absolutely correct in the fact that a lake is created by damming up a stream or creek that would and that's what feeds the lake over time, right? So there's a big process that goes on before that you have to acquire the land and whatever else. But and the unique part about Poduska Lake is it's not managed by the Corps of Engineers because it's not part of the integrated system with the other Corps lakes. So all the other ones are, but Poduska is not. So there's your fun facts. Those were your question. It wasn't the softball. It was, how a lake is created. I don't blame you. I didn't know how it was created before last week, and I just learned about it. So I figured I'd ask. But with that, guys, Jared, you're Frisco resident. You said for 12 years. What brought you to Frisco?
So my wife had an opportunity to transfer with her company. So I basically and she told me there was going to be 10 locations to pick from. And there was only 2 on the list that I gave the green light to. One was Phoenix, and because we were in San Diego and Phoenix is nice. But my preference was the Dallas area. So I said, if we can go there, I'd really love us to move to Texas. I went to Oklahoma State University, so I went to high school in Oklahoma. Yeah, go Popes. And so I knew Texas, not great, but I visited many times, and I really appreciated that Texas spirit and the independence that Texas has and the people that are here, and nothing can replace Texas. And so this is going to be our home base forever. Well, at least mine. I can't say that for my wife. No, I'm just kidding. And so we really love it here, and this is going to be our home forever.
Well, that's awesome. I'm 13 years resident here, so I got here just a little tad before you. But what's
you guys were getting here before it was popular for all your people to come.
That's right.
I know. I didn't bring California though. I always tell people, I always have to have that disclaimer. Oh, California, but I didn't bring California with me. I always have to say that because that's the first thing. Well, I hope you didn't bring California with you. I said, absolutely not. I did not.
Don't Californicate our Texas, right?
Exactly. But in Austin, they probably like that, right? They probably would say, bring it.
Well,
but we don't want Austin here either.
We don't want Austin here either.
I was gonna say, I talked to somebody the other day and they moved from Austin. They were like, it was too weird for me. And I was like, well, I mean, Austin is a little weird. That's true.
Weird.
Well, awesome. So what inspired you to run for public service? Like what got you going?
That's a great question. So I've been watching my wife for the last 3 years and how she's been doing on school board. And she inspired me because I've seen that even though she's kind of by herself, she's not part of the inside group there. She's made a big difference. She's made a big difference in students' lives and teachers' lives. And she's provided a different perspective, and she's provided a lot of thought-provoking. She's been provocative. She's been inquiring. She's made them think outside the box, and she's done a lot of things. And she's kind of ahead of the curve. And what I mean by that is this past November, we had a bond initiative. They wanted to pass $1.2 billion onto the citizens. She was the only one that voted no. Why? Because she understood the financial impact. But more importantly, we were talking about rapport earlier. She reached out to her constituents and virtually 99% of them said no. So she got a feel for what the city, the residents, what they wanted. But the administration had no feel whatsoever. And so they were pushing this thing. But she understood what the citizens wanted, and she was the only one voted no, and none of it passed. None of the initiatives passed. And so, and so with that, and some folks asked me said we need some new leadership here in Frisco. Frisco is kind of at an inflection point now in its life cycle, and it needs a leader that understands deep finance. The finance now is so complicated that the average person really can't understand, and it's not their fault. I mean, there's certain city council folks, this isn't their wheelhouse. They have some strong suits, but not finance like I have, the deep finance that I have. I mean, I understand these things like bonds, for instance. I know bonds inside and out, for instance, and it can be very complicated. And so how do you make an informed decision on something if you just don't understand it? And so they don't have that perspective now. The person that's termed out now, he was in banking, he's leaving. And next year, the two leading people that understand finance, they're termed out as well. So that the city needs someone with my financial experience to help guide the decision-making processes and how the city goes forward.
Well, yeah, for sure. Have you done any time on the EDC board or anything like that?
I haven't, but that's not necessarily a requirement. But I've attended meetings and I understand a lot of stuff that's happening. And so, just being in the business world, the stuff they talk about, pro formas and, economic development. I'm on my HOA board, and I know it's not the same, but it's a very small version of what the city does. Because we have to do projections. We're doing new things. We want to bring dog park and pickleball. Everybody loves pickleball now. It's the fastest growing sport. And, again, it's a tiny scale, but, my homeowner association is 750 homes. I mean, it's not just 50, 60 homes. It's a fair size HOA. So, I have some experience with that and some other things I've done in my past that can help guide me.
I was going to say, navigating HOA boards is real fun. I was the treasurer at one point for mine.
Yes. And it's, ironically, it's going to be very similar. 50% of the people like you, 50% of the people hate you. So,
I was going to say, there's probably a bigger percentage that hate you.
Yeah, well, not yet. I haven't had that yet, but they do. I think when you explain things, my background gives me a unique perspective because I'm able to take complicated situations and explain it in a more simpler form so people can understand it. And once you do that, you take the time and you really explain something. Yes, there's still emotion involved, but they get it. And that's what people want, because when people get upset, they're not upset, they're scared, right? They don't understand something. And so, or they think they understand it, but they don't really understand the full picture, for instance. So, but once you do that, I feel like, you know, I've been in many situations where I've had to disarm people. And so, you know, they come in hot, you know, and, but you, as long as you stay cool and you can turn it back around and make it a positive experience, not all the time, but definitely many a time as well. Like I have clients calling me now, not my current ones, but in the past, because the clients I've brought with me to start my firm, they're very good clients. But in the past, people, like right now with the market down so much, people call me in a pure panic in the past. And once you slow it down, you talk about it, you get through their concerns, they feel so much better. And then they're like, sorry for taking up your time. I said, no, you're not taking my time. This is exactly what I'm here for, is to do this for you. So.
Awesome. Well, yeah, appreciate that perspective for sure. Guys, you know, Brogan, I'm sorry we cut you a little bit short, but
it's all good.
One thing I want to hear from you, being so young, what gave you the courage to start your own business? And if you can answer it in 30 seconds, that would be awesome. I'm sorry.
Mentorship. Mentorship is everything. A good mentor and a good support system and just a service to build off of. That's all you really need.
Love that.
Can I add something,
awesome.
Brogan? I'm very impressed with you for doing this at your age. You are very, very smart. You now have control of your own destiny. And when I started my firm, all the guys that I used to speak with said, they gave me advice that, you know, that I wish I'd have done this 5 years earlier. And after I started my firm, they were 100% right. I wish I would have done this 5 years earlier or even sooner than that. So I commend you for doing this at your age. It's very impressive because it's very difficult. People don't understand how difficult it is. And I'm very impressed that you're doing this. And I hope you stay with it. And, you know, there's going to be days where it's probably going, what am I doing? But just stick with it. It will pay off for the rest of your life.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
100%. All right, guys. Hey, normally I would ask what was your key takeaway from today, but we're out of time. So we're not even going to be able to get those answers. Hopefully you are taking something away from being on today. We certainly are as hosts and co-hosts, and I know the audience has as well. So guys, guests, Brogan, Jared, thank you for being men on the show to outnumber Jax number one. Kidding, of course, kidding. But we do appreciate your time today and your insights. Appreciate all of that. Jared, best of luck to you on the election. You know, you've got a couple more weeks of really hard time. So best of luck to you. Brogan, best of luck to you as well with your you know, your newer business, and we're rooting for you. Jax, thank you so much for being my co-host today. With that, guys, go watch the Masters. Enjoy this weekend, and we will see you next week, same time. Bye-bye all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Frisco was made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Bethany Ralwin with the B. Ralwin Realty Group, Liliana Aranda with Window Hero, Jax Crider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Abracadoodle, Eric Buchanan with Goosehead Insurance, Meena Singh, college counselor and prep coach, and by Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.